Hello, everybody. I'm Sophie Stern, and I'm here today with a wonderful guest, Kristin. Kristin, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your impact on the writing community that you're making?
Hello, I'm Kristin Marciniak, and I am the owner, operator, and only person at the Word Shop, which is a creative writing school for middle and high schoolers in Johnson County, Kansas.
So, Kristin, I'm sure you get this particular question a lot, but opening a writing school is a pretty big feat and a really big, on taking. What was the inspiration for that? Like, what made you decide this is what I'm going to do?
It was kind of a three-part deal. It's kind of a culmination of everything I have done in my career up to that point. So I started
Mhm.
the word shop. We're going into our fourth summer, which
Oh,
seems
cool.
insane. So I
Yeah.
came up with the idea in November of 2022, I guess. And prior to that, I had been running book clubs at my son's elementary school, fifth grade book club. And my career prior to that was I work in educational publishing. I'm a freelance
Cool.
writer, sometimes editor, but I prefer to write because I don't like waiting on other people's timelines.
Valid,
So
valid.
I write everything that goes in a classroom.
Cool.
I focus on ELA and social studies.
Okay.
I don't know how I got into social studies. I just
It
did.
happens.
ELA is really my sweet spot. And
Okay,
I
cool.
was teaching teachers how to teach kids how to write.
Interesting.
And a lot of my work for a few years was writing study guides for the top 1,000 greatest works of literature taught
Hmm.
in Western culture.
Okay.
So, as I did that, I learned a lot about how to understand literature, learned about themes, motifs, symbols. And so, when I was doing book clubs, that's how I was teaching fifth graders how to read
Yeah.
books. And so then when my son went to middle school, I went to middle school. And I really went to middle school to ask, can we start a writing club?
Oh, interesting.
And because at the elementary school level, we didn't think the kids were ready for that.
Hmm.
And the middle school librarian, who is now a good friend, was like, yeah, writing club is great, but we had 60 kids show up for sixth grade book club. Can you help?
What?
I was like, okay,
Wow.
fine. Cool. So
Yeah.
I did both, and
Cool.
I'm still at the middle school, even though my son is at high school, and I'm still
Okay.
running writing club there. And I loved writing club. It was super, super fun. I gave them prompts. We would write once a month.
Love.
It was great. And it was just a few kids. Um, at the same time, I had finished the first draft of my own novel the previous summer, and it had taken me 15 years to write it.
Okay.
And the only reason I finished it was because one of my very good friends said, you're going to sit down with me every Monday night at this coffee house and you're going to finish that fucker. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. I guess
So
that's what I'm doing now.
yeah, I really didn't have an out, but I had a friend who would sit with me. And I think writing is the most terrifying thing a person can do. Like,
Hmm.
I, it's
Yeah.
horrifying. It is. It's so scary. And I had freaked myself out for years and years about this book that I thought about every single day. And every
Yeah.
single day, I did not know what to do with it. So, because she sat with me and I had that friendship, when we went into COVID, I was able to keep working on it and finally able to finish it. So, I knew I liked teaching writing. I knew I had the skills to do it. And I
Yeah.
knew that it's better with friends. And
That
then
part.
I also became chronically ill during COVID. When I got sick with COVID in December of 2021, my only symptom was dizziness. And I was extremely tired. And the next 9 months were like absolutely horrible. I had vertigo all the time. And then we finally figured out that COVID turned on my migraine centers. So I have chronic intractable vestibular migraines, which means I have migraines that make me dizzy and make my eyes do weird
Yeah.
stuff all the time. They do not stop. So I could not do the amount of freelancing I was doing. It was too stressful.
Yeah, I
And
believe
I
it.
needed something that was not stressful, so I decided to start a business. That's like totally counterintuitive. But today, my condition is really great, like very controlled with medicine. And when I'm teaching, I do not feel pain. I generally am
Oh,
not dizzy. It's when I'm with the kids, I feel really good. So that's how the word shop came about. It was those three things. And we are slowly building a community of young writers. My goal for them is that when they leave Kansas City and do whatever they're going to do in their lives, when they are 30, 40 years old, they still have a group of friends they can text and say,
yeah,
"Hey, can you read this for me? Can you see if this is good? I want to send this off to a publisher. I want to send this to a magazine, or just I want to share this." I don't have that community. I want this for them because
yeah,
writing is such a lonely experience. And
absolutely.
I don't want them to be lonely. So that's the
Yeah,
workshop in a nutshell. Another reason I and another selling point I have is that we spend so much money on kids for sports in the world
yeah.
and in this
Mhm.
community, and we give them the best coaches, the best equipment, the best playing fields. Yet we expect kids who write to get better in their bedrooms with their door closed.
Yes, that's a really great point. Yeah.
That is not how you become a better writer. You become a better writer not only by reading, but by having someone else read your work, by asking
Hmm.
questions, by getting the kids love to work together. They hate to work together at school, but they love to bounce ideas off each other and co-create. That's how you become better.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for them is just a space where they can be together. And that's my dining room table right now. So that's
No,
the
I love that because I did peek at your website before we talked and you have pictures of the table and it looks so cozy and just welcoming. And I think that's the thing that I found most impressive out of everything that you said and like everything you're doing is it seems like you're creating a very safe space where kids can have that freedom to try new things
Mhm.
and to get feedback that's going to be supportive and help them grow, but it's also like they can try something weird or something
Yes.
unusual and you're like, okay, cool. How do we make that better? How do we make it stronger?
Right. And at at the table, which the table is a story in its own. I found it on Facebook Marketplace for $50. And my
Love.
dad and I went to get it in Lee's Summit and we stripped it and it is gorgeous. And my dad's a woodworker and
Okay.
we
Oh,
refinished it.
cool.
It is so beautiful. And it's getting too small. We can fit 8 people at the table. And
Okay.
so now I have nights where I don't have a seat because all the kids. And that's like the greatest, that's the greatest feeling in
Yeah.
life. Um, the kids are weird. They write weird stuff and it
Yeah.
is the best. And
Yeah.
they are encouraged to write whatever they want. My rule is I never tell your adults what you're writing.
Love.
Um, if your adults ask me what you're writing, I tell them how you're doing. Like, they're doing great. Good job.
Hmm.
But I will never tell what you're writing. No one ever has to, like, you never have to share.
Yeah.
You never have to share with me or with another student. And if you want to share with me privately, that's great.
Yeah.
But I have kids who have been with me all 3 years, like from the very first test class. I have never read a single thing they're writing, and that's fine. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I know they're great writers because I see them putting in the work. I see them doing research. I see them like plotting out intricate things. It's none of my business what they write. It is
Yeah.
my business that they are writing and that they are having fun. That's where my money
Absolutely.
is. If they ask me for help, that is an honor,
Yeah.
and I will take it at any time.
Yeah. Well, and I love hearing that sort of like confidence in your students to be like you're doing great. Like I see you working your ass off and I know that you're putting in the time and the effort. So I also used to teach creative writing to kids.
Okay.
And I loved it. It was so fun. But one thing that I found with my students is I would get kids who they'd been told you can't write, you're not going to be a good writer, your ideas aren't interesting enough. So, what do you do when you get a student who might feel like who might come to you and be like, I want to write, but I'm feeling like kind of defeated? Like, what's your
Yes.
go-to move?
So I work, in my house, it's pretty much kids who self-select. Unless you
Cool.
were sent to me because your parents want you to get essay help, no kid ever wants to do that. Uh,
Yeah.
the kids who come for creative writing want to be there,
Yeah.
usually. Now, sometimes I have a kid who comes to a prompt night. I do prompt nights for middle school and high school on Thursday and
Cool.
Friday. I give them a prompt and dessert, and we write for 45 minutes and then share at the end, and you can win a prize. Um, Sometimes we have a kid come whose adult has dropped them off in the hopes that they will learn to be a better writer. And this kid is like you can just tell when they walk in. And the rest of us are so excited because we're sure we're making a new friend for life and that they will
Yeah.
always stay. And the kid's like, I don't want to write. I don't want to be
I
here.
don't want to be here.
So I tell them, that's fine. No one's going to read what you write. Here's a piece of
Yeah.
paper. You can write to the prompt. You can not write at all. You can write
Yeah.
whatever you want. Like, this is your time,
Yeah.
right? Have fun. Just
Absolutely.
have fun. And I have like my greatest success story. My favorite girl lives down the street. She didn't put pencil to paper for 6 months. It was
Oh,
fine. She
interesting.
never identified as a writer. I think she does now. But she was writing, she was telling stories in her head, and that's writing.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're imagining anything, that is writing. If you were saying it
Yeah.
out loud, that is writing. I work with day campers at day camp in Kansas City, Missouri. I go 2 days a week in the summer
Okay.
and we write, and they're loath to see me at the beginning of the summer. They're like, oh my God, she's back.
I bet.
And we have so we have so much fun. And some of the kids are just like, I don't want to do this. Some of them fall asleep during class, but they all at some point have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't know what to say. Say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Just
Anything.
anything. It does not matter. Do you have a story about Batman? Tell a story about Batman. That's great. Like, whatever you like, tell me about it. I want to know. I want to know everything. And the stories will be like 3 sentences. You did a great job. You wrote it down. And I find for a lot of kids, it is the physical act of writing that is what is standing in their way. So they do not want to use their hand to write. It hurts. It is hard. Find a friend and have that friend transcribe or draw it. That is telling a story. There are so many ways to tell your story that is not, you know, physically writing it down. But all of them by the end of the summer are writing stuff down and they are not so upset to see me.
Wait, I love that. And that's like such a good, like fulfilling feeling as like a leader or a teacher, just to be like, because I know you and I chatted a little bit before we started the show today, just being a creative ourselves and like getting to support other people and seeing that journey for them. Like, I feel like it's just so fulfilling.
It is. My I don't make any money doing this. Like I'm hardly anything, okay? And I spend all my money on advertising. It does not matter. Like I will do this forever. These kids are everything.
Yeah.
Everything they do is absolute magic. I I feel guilty charging their parents. Like I have a
Yeah.
class that started almost 2 years ago, and I let the kids come for free to continue the projects we're working on because I love them. And we're making our own tarot card deck. It's
Oh,
spiraled out of
cool.
control. We will be working on this until they're out of college. And
Yeah.
I don't need to be paid for it because they are magic. Like I made a
Yeah.
commitment that we're going to do this. It is the most fulfilling thing.
Yeah.
And I am at a place with my novel where I'm on like the eighth revision. I know I should
Oh,
send it
yeah.
out again to query. I did query at one point and I took it back and I made some major structural change, like lore changes, I guess.
Okay.
And I have revised it and I keep revising it and I know I should send it out. But also, I kind of feel like I don't care because
Yeah.
one of these kids is going to be famous as hell. It doesn't matter what I do. It matters what
Interesting.
they do. It matters that they are creating and making things. And it matters that like they are so happy when they're here. My writing does not matter. I write with them every week. And the stories I am telling there are so weird and great. And my novel just doesn't matter to me anymore. And I feel
That's
bad about
fair.
that. It's like that's like 18 years of my life now.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I think
Not
that's
weird.
no, that's really interesting. And it's funny because I think for me, I totally get that. And I'm like, but you're creating art, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you finish it. What matters is you're having that experience and
Yes.
you're having that joy and you're working with the piece that you're working on. And I think when I started thinking about writing as creating art, there was kind of a mind shift change for me.
Mhm.
And it's kind of freeing, like to be able to write something that's a little weird or a little out there, and to just have that experience of like you said, 18 years of your life. I'm sure you've had, I'm guessing that you probably have parts in your book where you're like, I remember when I wrote that scene and how I was feeling. I remember when I wrote this line and how I was feeling. Is that fair?
No, actually, I remember writing none of it. So, like,
Oh,
when I
never
go back
mind
and read
then.
it, I'm like, this is incredible. Who wrote this? Like,
Wait,
I
that's
am
so
su
funny.
genuinely surprised every time I read it because so much time has gone past since I last touched it. Like,
That's so funny.
that's how unengaged I am with it.
Okay, that's
So
really different than what
that's
I said, but I love it.
like maybe it's me. I
That's
don't know.
so funny. Okay, let me ask you a follow-up question. Follow-up
Yeah.
question. Do your students inspire you? And if yes, what does that look like?
Um, yeah, they do, especially the middle schoolers. Um,
Oh,
middle school girls have the greatest imaginations.
oh
Um,
yeah.
and they have inspired me to be more freaky. Like, so there was in one of my first classes, um, it was the intro to storytelling class I teach in the summer for
Mhm.
rising fifth and sixth graders. And one of my students, who is the one who did not write for 6 months, she created a character called the Murmelo, and he
Oh,
is half mermaid, half buffalo.
okay, okay.
And he is a god, but also a regular animal, just like swimming around underwater.
Cool.
And he
Okay.
became our mascot. Like he is our Wi-Fi password.
Wait, that's so funny.
He's great. And so this year, I actually commissioned an artist to draw the Murmelo for us so we would have a mascot. Oh my God, he's so cute. I love him so much. And I started writing his origin story.
Okay.
And I, the characters that these girls come up with have made me want to write more fantastic things than I was before. I write in what I call like realistic fantasy, which does not make sense at all, but like very, very, very low fantasy. So just like reality with a slight twist. And they write like kind of like magical bubble fantasy where like everything is sparkly and glittery and awesome. And I like to write in that now. That is what
Interesting.
is fun to me. So when I don't know what to write at like a prompt tonight, I write about a community of garden gnomes who in Florida who are at war with yard flamingos.
Okay.
And I have like a whole series of it now. And I don't think I would have done that had I not been seeing the imaginations.
Yeah.
popping out. The other thing I see a lot of is murder. Like everyone is a murder girl, even the boys. And I do not murder characters.
Fair.
It's me and another girl. We are the only ones who do not murder. So that does not inspire me. But I have been inspired towards the more weird and zany from them. That has
Yeah.
been that has been great. It's made me feel more free to just write whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, like much more of a they have much more of a, like a Christopher Moore aesthetic than I
Okay.
ever thought a middle schooler would have.
Who
It's
knew?
very there. It's very there, which I am totally into. Yeah,
I love that. It just sounds like you work with so many cool kids and you get to have all these interesting experiences and hear about or read so many cool stories. And
they're
one thing that
just
I
great.
really love that you've been talking about also is like the lifelong relationships. It's really fun. And so I have a student that I worked with from the time they were like 13 and they're now 19 and not my student anymore, but we still like will text and they'll send me stories and be like, look what I wrote. And it's so cool to be like, this is the next generation of writers, right? Like
Yes.
this is what comes next. And you're going to create so many cool, wonderful things. And I got to be here at the ground floor.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It does not feel like I have done anything. So one
Mm.
of my greatest examples is I had this kid, um, his mom said he's a great writer, or she said he has so many stories in his head, but he can't get them out. I was like, all right.
Oh,
So starts coming to class, and he's an odd duck. And let me tell you, the kids who come here, some of them are odd ducks. We're writers, right?
yeah.
And so you're wondering, how's he going to fit in? And he was a senior, and he had at least six novels in his head. Like
Okay.
they were in there, but he did not know how to get them out. And he kept telling me the plots of all of them. And I finally said, I don't care what your story is. I just need you to put it on paper.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I don't know if I can. I was like, well, then you're not getting anywhere. Like you need to
Yeah.
write it down. Stop revising it in your head. So he started writing and he started coming to prompt nights. And the first stories were super jumbled. We didn't know what was happening. The plots were everywhere. And he loves Doctor Who, and he loves science fiction, and that's what
Cool.
his plots sounded fascinating. And then he started, I suggested some authors to him, and then all of a sudden when I clicked and he read this story he wrote, and all of us just went, and I was like, what just happened? And
Yeah.
I looked at him and I said, you've been reading Douglas Adams. And he's like, yeah, I love him. I was like, yeah, you do. It was this moment of clarity in voice and pacing in this very short story he wrote in 45 minutes. And that was when this was very early on in the workshop. And that's when I adopted the phrase level up. He leveled up that night.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time. I have kids who come in who don't know that a story has conflict, should have conflict. And so they're writing, short things without conflict. And then one night, all of a sudden, they add conflict. It's a complete reversal, level up.
Yeah.
And that's what we celebrate here is when you level up in your writing. One night, my own child, all of a sudden, there was his writing voice. And it was like clear as a bell.
Yeah.
And all of us were like, oh my God, like that was you. And we had
You
never
did
heard that
that.
from him yet. I think I cried. Like
Oh,
it was a miracle because it just felt like he was screwing around before then. And it was, it was just, it was crazy.
that's amazing though.
Yeah, to see those moments. And the teacher has nothing to do with that. It is all the
Yeah.
kid and it is all practice. And that's what
Yeah.
I tell them over and over again. Like you are practicing. This is like lifting weights. It
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what you're putting on the paper. It just matters that you're putting it on the paper. Get it down.
Absolutely.
Get it
I
down.
agree.
And I need to tell myself that because I don't write when they're not here,
Okay.
except for work.
Yeah.
So I that's I need to take my own advice.
You should take your own advice. It's really good advice, I
It's
would
great
say.
advice.
You should definitely take some of that for yourself. Oh my goodness. Well, Kristen, this has been absolutely wonderful. Before we say goodbye, I know that we're both in the Johnson County area. So who should join or take a class from you? And I'll link to your website when I post
Cool.
this.
So the word shop is for kids who are going into fifth grade up through high school, up through
Okay.
12th grade. And in the summer, I have camps. So they are week-long classes, an hour and a half. No, wait, I don't know how long.
That's okay.
Oh, 2 hours to an hour and a half. I also help kids with their college essays,
Oh,
and
cool.
that is one of the most rewarding special things I do. I
Yeah.
love it, and all my kids have gotten into their top schools. So I that's not me, that's them. But my only promise to them is that you won't feel gross when you leave. So, any parent who's
Love
looking
that.
for an activity for their kid who likes to write, we do have a
Yeah.
D&D class this summer, which is new. I just
That's
got
cool.
all of the D&D guidebooks. So anyone who's looking for an activity for their indoor kid, this is a pretty great place to be.
I love that. Well, Kristen, thank you so much. This has been such a delight. I really appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming to talk with
Thanks
me.
for having me.
It was wonderful. All right, bye.
Bye.